Hi everybody, today I'm at Eynsford Castle, which was a Norman castle built in the 11th century, and I'm going to take you for a look around and hopefully you like it. So see you in a minute. So here I am, obviously at Eynsford Castle, and what you're looking at, or what you will be looking at, is a great example of a very rare Norman curtain-walled castle. Now, what that meant was that it was basically a huge wall, which is this, that went all the way round and surrounded the whole castle, so as a sort of form of protection. But it wasn't your traditional Motte and Bailey castle, which you'd probably assume with like places like Rochester. Great Tower of London is actually a really good example as well. So the idea was that inside you'd have this. So this was your Great Hall, and then you'd have a solar undercroft, which is that. And what the solar undercroft was basically for the noblemen or the owners, that would be their living quarters. So, and then here is your great kitchen. So actually there wasn't actually that much inside here, just a couple of like really big buildings, and this was originally built on a previous Saxon site. So as you can tell, it makes quite an impact on the landscape itself, and I'm going to take you for a look round and then I'm going to chat a few more bits about it. Okay, bye. The solar undercroft, which was basically the residential area of the castle itself. So this is where most of the important people would have lived. It's quite small, and most of it would have actually been on a sort of ground level. In fact, some of the tiles from London Roman Villa were used in here as well for the fireplace itself. And also there's a mini well which is down here, and as you can see it's quite small, but it backs onto the Great Hall, which is there. So that's the main hall, or the Great Hall, that's behind that wall. And obviously you can see how quite small it actually is, but you can imagine quite a lovely living space for somebody if they were to use it. The Great Hall, but actually technically I'm in the basement or the cellar area. In fact, you can actually see where the original height of this place was by looking at the beam there, which would have run all the way across, and you can see there's a natural level of where this would have gone across, and then it would have stretched right up to there, and there's a window. Don't know if you can see that because there's the sun. There you go. And it would have gone right the way around. So again, as a hall, this is quite a big place. Now, this was probably used for entertaining guests, having important meetings as well. But technically you can see how actually there's not much in this castle itself compared to like most normal castles of the period, which sort of obviously post Battle of Hastings, Norman Conquest. In fact, this place was built in 1088, and the Sheriff of Kent actually formerly lived here as well. And in between periods of time, up until the 14th century. Then it started to go into decay, and then by the 18th century it was used for kennels and stables. So, but considering that, the place itself was actually extremely well preserved. And like I said, with this video I'm just going to show you a few bits around here extra, and hopefully talk a few more bits about certain areas. Castle, you need to go to the toilet. Where do you go? Well, as you walk into this castle on your left, see these holes there? They would have been what we call privies or toilets, and basically there would have been a chute that went all the way down into the moat, which is down there. As you can tell, in fact, when it's really wet around here, it actually does look like a natural moat. In fact, the water actually comes from the river itself, then breaks across and then surrounds this place. So in fact, you get a better idea of actually what this probably would have looked like more in the period of when it was made. In fact, actually there as well, you can tell how high this wall is. That would have been the main gatehouse there, and then looking down, that would have been where the drawbridge was. In fact, it was made out of timber and wood. Obviously now there's a permanent one, and as we walk across it, you can see how high potentially we would have been up. So I'm walking across, get down, and in fact, because it was wet last night, there's still a lot of water retained in there. And then as you look across, you can see, if you're walking up here, how amazing that place would have looked originally.